College game days, game of the week, North Carolina versus South Carolina, two teams that feature a number of explosive players and two quarterbacks that have NFL potential, one of them closer than the other, but we'll dive into more of that in a little bit. These are two teams that I think have explosive potential on both sides of the football, especially on offense. The defense features a number of playmakers that can make a big impact, and there's a number of matchups that will determine who wins this game and why. I love both coaches. I think that's an underrated part of this game is Matt Brown and Shane Beamer are two of the more likable coaches in college football. They're just really fun to follow. They're really fun to root for. And now they feature two teams that are hoping for better results in 2023. Drake May and Spencer Rattler have number one in common. And when I say that, I mean Drake May could be the future number one pick in the 2024 NFL draft. He has some work to do, but he is someone who could definitely attain that goal. At one point, Spencer Rattler was the number one pick in a future NFL draft, and obviously that did not happen. He got beat out by Caleb Williams and transfers to South Carolina, and he hasn't really been the same since. But there's still that Spencer in him. You see some of the throws that he's made at South Carolina, and it's still there. The flashes that we've seen show that he is still a player that can be electric. He is still a player that has potential in him to elevate his team, and he is someone that can make, like I said, a big impact for 2023. North Carolina gives Drake May plenty of options at the skill positions. Running back is super deep. There are 4 or 5 guys that could contribute this year. Wide receiver is super deep. We'll see what happens with Tez Walker's eligibility, but if he is able to play, he gives them yet another passing weapon that will be interesting to see how they utilize him. And this is the number 11 pass offense versus South Carolina's number 34 pass defense. The one thing I will say is that I'm interested to see how Lindsey runs this offense. Obviously, with Phil Longo going to Wisconsin, this offense will look drastically different. And I do have some concerns about how explosive this offense can be. Chip Lindsey is not Phil Longo, and I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. It's just that Phil Longo has proven he can be more explosive as a play color. But Chip Lindsey has also provided some explosive offenses himself. So we'll see what happens. There's plenty of talent, and it's just a matter of how much time does Drake May have to throw and who's going to be his go-to receiver now that Josh Downs is gone. Speaking of stepping up, South Carolina has an issue of their own in a way because Juice Wells is one of the best receivers in college football, arguably the best in the SEC. But who else can step up besides him? There's plenty of talent around him. Right now, Juice Wells is the most reliable player on this team in terms of pass catching. Is Trey Knox, the tight end from Arkansas, going to be an option? Are other players going to be able to step up? Memphis transfer Eddie Lewis, is he going to be a player that makes an impact? There are questions about who besides Juice Wells can be that guy, who can be someone that takes pressure off of Wells, because there's going to be extra attention sent his way regardless of what happens this year. It's just a matter of what is the damage that this other group of pass catchers, how much can they do? And they're going against a defense that is experienced in North Carolina, but does that help them? I think that last year they returned a ton of experience too, but it just wasn't the defense that we expected. So North Carolina has a lot to prove. North Carolina has a lot of work to do as well, but this is still a program that I think has good experience, and they're hoping that that helps them. It's just a matter of starting strong against a South Carolina team that has a lot to prove. And they're coming off a lot of momentum from last year. They have a lot of excitement coming into this program. And it all starts with the quarterback position. Obviously, Drake May makes a lot of incredible throws. If you go and watch his film, there's a lot to be excited about if you're a Drake May fan, if you're a North Carolina fan, and you have no reason to believe that should change in 2023. Coincidentally, on the other side, South Carolina has a lot to be excited about with Spencer Rattler. Is it as much as Drake May? No. But if Spencer Rattler can find or channel that Tennessee game and turn that into an entire season or most of the season, you're looking at a very different result for South Carolina in 2023. You're looking at a team that has a different feeling, and that's saying something for how they felt coming off of last year. This is a team that felt very confident coming off the end of last year. And if Spencer's able to take his game to where it once was, then you're looking at a team that feels very different and much more excited than they were in 2022. And that is definitely saying something. These are two teams that are looking to elevate their game. Can North Carolina get back to the ACC championship game? Drake May will play a role in that. Can South Carolina elevate themselves higher in the SEC East? Those are two things to keep an eye on. And it'll be fun to see how this game turns out and what that means for both of these. And obviously, there's certain players that you want to keep an eye on. We talked about Trey Knox before. I really like his size, and I think that he could be a big target for Spencer Rattler. I think giving Spencer Rattler more options, more weapons helps a ton. It's just a matter of which one of those options will step up, and if are there multiple that will make life easy for him. On North Carolina side, you have so much depth offensively and you have experience on defense. It's tough to find some guys that could step up. Kamon Rucker, if healthy, is one of the most explosive edge players in college football. He is someone who can definitely make a big impact, someone who can definitely take this team to new heights, and he could have a major impact on this game. If he's being disruptive and taking it to a South Carolina offensive line that maybe has a few things to figure out, then you're looking at a North Carolina team that gets stops and gives the ball back to their offense. So right now, I would give North Carolina the slight edge, but I think this is going to be a fun game to watch. It could be a back and forth game, and if it's a shootout, I think everybody wins in that instance.